difficult period for the NDC. Members resigned, some were expelled, and eventually the party went to the election in 2013, lost all 15 seats. Following that, in 2018 again, lost all 15 seats, and of course went through a period of restructuring again, more young people getting into the party. After Mr. Burke resigned as political leader, Mrs. Bernadine took the helm, and 1 year later she has resigned. I do believe it is a blow for the party, but I wanted to get your view on this development, one being a former member of the party and also a member of government with the same party. How do you think Mrs. Alexis' resignation, and I want to stress the fact that it is, she has cited health reason. I don't know of anything other than that has brought about a resignation. So we would stick to that. What's your take on the resignation, and how do you think this will affect the National Democratic Congress?
Actually, when you look at everything as it relates to politics is very stressful. Mm-hmm. I look at my time in politics and my running in the first instance and being in government. It's a very, very stressful thing, especially if you're trying to maybe go against the flow and try to do things that other person have not done. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of things that come at you, and understanding that Mrs. Bernadine has resigned because of health reasons, I can understand that. I know it's not an easy chair to sit on. It's not an easy cap to fit on your head to be a leader for a party, especially having gone through the difficulties that the party went through over the last two elections, losing all 15 seats. It's a very difficult thing. And to be able to rebuild a party, it takes a lot of effort. And so maybe that's the reason why I have not been in politics, in frontline politics from since I left. Because it takes a lot out of you. Mm-hmm. And I don't think people really understand or really appreciate the amount of effort that one has to put in. And sometimes the returns are not as great. I've heard persons say that in politics, it's like one Calypsonian, I can't remember his name now. He said, "I want to be a politician, to thief money." Do you remember that?
Yes. I think it was Black Wizard who did a calypso along those lines. Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was Black Wizard. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know that. But you see, that's a perception, mm-hmm. and it's a perception that is born out of something that people see.
Right.
Persons go into politics, and sometimes they are practically broke, and then within a few years they seem to amass such wealth, and somehow nobody showed me how to do that, because
you weren't taught that.
I wasn't taught that. But I remember one guy that said to me point blank in my face that I was not a politician.
Uh-huh.
Based upon the way that I was approaching things. But the resignation of Mrs. Bernadine is, I think it's a two-edged sword. On the one hand, it's a blow for the party, because the party would need proper structure, mm-hmm. and especially having to go up again for another election. I don't know how soon it's going to be called. And if you don't have a cohesive group of persons, it's going to be difficult. But on the other hand, maybe that may be a good thing to get younger persons, a more vibrant person, a person who may be more on the cutting edge to take leadership there. Mm-hmm. It's a difficult one, but again, if that's her reasons for leaving, I can understand. I can understand the pressures that she must have faced, and if she is being stressed out that way, I think it's best to pull out now rather than drop dead in it. I can understand that. Yeah.
And also you have to consider that not very long ago she lost her husband.
Yeah.
So one can understand probably the stress levels involved in that. But at a time when I think, and you've heard from party members, and supporters saying that, look, the party is in a better position now. Because for a long period after the election, there was someone just basically holding the reins, acting. And then after the convention, she was elected, and the impression was that work has been done, things have been put in place, to get ready for an election whenever it's called. Of course, we've heard contrasting stories along those lines, and there are those who feel that the NDC is not doing enough. They're not vocal enough. They're not seen as they would like to, and with that kind of things been out there, and now with that resignation, I hope it's not a case where the party have to start all over again. I know that Mr. Adrian Thomas is the deputy political leader. He is a young man, very new in politics. I would add. He's contested the election twice before and lost. So how is this? The question is, how is this going to actually affect the work of the party going forward? We know that the Prime Minister, as I said, holds the key to the election. What if next week the Prime Minister announces that the election is going to be in a month? Because that is possible.
That's possible. But I need to say something here before we go forward. Because in case people are wondering where I stand, right? Neither at this point in time, I should say I'm politically neutral at this point in time. When I resigned from the NDC, I went into the NNP, and I was appointed as an ambassador and also the High Commissioner. And right now, backing the leader, how should I put it? I'm not at this point in time affiliated with either of the two.
Okay.
So as I'm speaking to you now, I just want to clarify that, lest some people think that I'm here or there or somewhere else. And I wanted to make that clear, so that what I'm saying here is not for one side or the other, but just looking at this overall standpoint as to what really obtains. Because I think the big picture is what we have to look at. And the big picture is what do Grenadians see in relation to the country right now? How do they see the country moving forward? Are they satisfied with what's taking place? Is there any need or any urge for change? And how do both political parties deal with this? And then again, there's another player on the field. There's the former MP, well, he's still the MP for Northeast St. George.
Yes, Mr. Clement.
Who was also, I think he declared that he was starting a party, and he was, So there's another player on the scene also. So it's what is the political landscape here in Grenada, and how do we see going forward what is best for the country? I think there are a lot of things that one could say that has happened that was good. A lot of things that people will say that it was not good. And again, it's a matter of perspective, how we view what has taken place or what is taking. And I've argued that one of the things that I've seen that I kind of question is the necessity at this point in time, during this COVID area, what's the word? This time of COVID.
COVIDious times. That's the phrase that they use. COVIDious times.
In these COVIDious times, all right, and the loss of revenue from the government, because mind you, SGU, all right, is said to have been what, 30% of the GDP?
Yeah, about 20%, yeah, 25%. Mm-hmm.
Let's say 20% of GDP. Now, most of the students are not here. So we have a lot of places in the South who is not receiving rent, and they are going to face a lot of difficulties as it relates to their obligations to the bank.
Mm-hmm.
The airlines are not flowing as they used to. Matter of fact, my brother was planning to come to me there, and he was saying to me that when looking at the website, having to have a COVID test 72 hours before you board the flight, how do you buy a ticket? How do you plan this? He said it's almost impossible for people to really plan to come to Grenada now. Hopefully that will change. So there's a lot of loss of revenue. Now, in this difficult time when there's that loss of revenue, how do we justify the taking of a new loan for the expansion of the airport?
Mm-hmm.
These are questions that just come to mind as to whether that makes sense. I mean, for my mind, I question that. I question that within the context of the state of health in Grenada, as a matter of fact. And that's one of the burning passions that still remain in me. I feel like it's a unfinished task, that we should have had a new hospital, a better hospital, upgraded hospital. The fact that we have a School of Medicine right there, and we don't have a top international hospital, it kind of irks at me still, because I really believe that could have happened.
Mm-hmm.
As it happened. So how do we justify that? Because in my mind, the volume of air traffic, does it warrant an extra runway? So that and especially again in this COVIDious times where the revenue is so much revenue is lost. Then I ask myself, how is the government really taking care of business, paying workers, looking at any kind of major projects, or how do you deal with that?
Mm-hmm.
With this new loan, to me, again, as I said, I'm on the outside looking in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not inside. I have no inside knowledge or inside track to anything. But it's just that from an outside observer, there's cause for concern.
Well, I'll tell you, Carl. Many people have expressed their feelings on that issue, and from hosting programs here at the network, you get a lot of opinions from people, and there are a lot of people who feel the same way. You've heard that a second taxiway is not necessary. Yes, they are in support of upgrading our facility. I don't think we have any queries there, but as to expansion, how much do you expand? You raise the issue of necessity, which is very important. So that is a very, very pertinent issue. It's one that needs to be discussed continuously, so that our leaders understand how the citizens feel about it. And that is just one. And there are many other issues that are, at the fore. And in light of all of that, and of course, as we mentioned, COVIDious times, and I'm sure and I want to go back to the NDC, they must be, as a political party, you are always in preparation mode for election, and to take leadership or take the government if the people give you that mandate. And I am sure that a lot of these things are going to the minds of the leadership of the party. And to be struck now at this time when tourism is almost zero, our economy is not what it is supposed to be, and there is so much happening. How are they going to prepare? How are they going to prepare now? One, having now to possibly elect a new leader, and so much has to be done. How do you do that? Do you think that resignation has made it a lot easier for the NNP to regain power when an election is called?
Again, it's a difficult balancing act, I would say, because on one hand, you have to be prepared for whatever eventualities, and especially within our context where the Prime Minister can call election at any time. And at any time he thinks it's opportune for him to do so. So how do you prepare for that now that you have lost your leader? I remember in 2008 that one of the things that took NDC over the edge, as it were, was when there was the thought about looking at the leaders of the party and comparing leaders, comparing what the perceptions are where one leader is concerned as it relates to the perception in regards to the other leader. And that tended to gravitate and try to help the party then. Now, having lost a leader now, NDC would have to find a leader, somebody that when the nation looked at both leaders would say, well, this leader seemed capable, and so there can be some sort of some sort of real competition. Because I tell you the truth here, one of the things that I see in Grenada politics is that even though constitutionally you elect representatives in each constituency, at the end of it all, it is as though you're electing a president.
Yeah. Carl, that's a very interesting point, and I want to come back to that. But we need to take a short break, and after that, I want to talk to you a bit more on that issue of paralleling leaders. So we take a break, and we'll be right back, folks. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere.
Get high making money moves with the NLA's new Aces High Scratch game with 4 chances to win. Beat the dealer's card to win the prize shown. Reveal an A symbol. And just like that, you are automatically a winner. Scratch away to win the top prize of $10,000. Win easy with Scratch. Must be 18 or older to play.
Good evening, viewers and listeners. Welcome to the National Lotteries Authority's Daily Pick 3 Evening Draw for today, Thursday, November 26, 2020. I am Anisha Charles. With me this evening is Ms. Becky Babine from PKF Accountants and Business Advisors, whose purpose is to ensure that this draw is conducted in an accountable manner and the game balls with industry standards and in a way sampled with. At this time, your tickets ready. It's Daily Pick 3. It pays to play. Good luck. First up this evening is check your tickets to the meantime. First number up is 4, second number is 3, third and final number. Final number is also 3. Okay, let's recap those numbers. Numbers on the screen. First number up is 4, the second 3, third and final is 3. So that's 4, 3, and a 3. Congratulations, all winners. Stay tuned, get your daily cash flow drop next. We'll see you soon.
Tick, tock, toe. I win.
Feel like a big kid again when you play NLA's new scratch game, Tic-Tac-Toe. It's instant cash on the go. Reveal 3 X's or 3 O's in the same row, column, or diagonally, and win the prizes shown, or as much as $5,000. Win easy with Scratch. Must be 18 or older to play. Tic-Tac-Toe, please.
Give me a tic-tac-toe, please.
Tic-Tac-Toe, please.
Welcome back everyone to another Daily Cash for Evening Draw for today, Thursday, November 26, 2020. I am Anisha Charles. With me again is Ms. Makiba Bean from PKF Accountants and Business Advisors, whose purpose is to ensure that this draw is conducted in a fair and accountable manner, and the game balls with industry standards and in no way stamped with. At this time, you should tickets ready. It's Daily Cash for more plays, bigger prizes. Let's find out what this evening's winning numbers will be. Good luck. This evening is check your tickets in the meantime. First number is 6, second number is 8, third number up. Third number is also 8, fourth and final number is 0. Okay, let's recap those numbers on the screen. First number up is 6, the second 8, third 8, fourth and final is 0. So that's 6, 8, 8 and 0. Congratulations all winners. Stay tuned at the play we drop next. We'll see you soon.
Win more with the NLA's Daily Cash 4 every day with more plays and bigger prizes to be won. It's a 4-digit game with all the bet types you already know and much, much more. From 0000 to 9999. Choose your 4 numbers and place your bet from 11 different bet types. Choose from inline, 4 different mixes, first 3, last 3, and 4 different backup options too. Best of all, it starts at just $1, except for backups, which starts at $2. Win as much as $5,000 with a $1 inline bet and as much as $6,200 in a $2 backup bet. Imagine $50,000 for a winning $10 inline bet. There's definitely more to win with the Daily Cash 4. More plays, bigger prizes, twice per day, Mondays to Saturdays. Must be 18 and over to participate. NLA, making your dreams come true while supporting sports, culture, and nation building.
Welcome back everyone to another Playway Evening Draw for today, Thursday, November 26, 2020. I am Anisha Charles. With me once again is Ms. Makiba Bean from PKF Accountants and Business Advisors, whose purpose is to ensure that this show is conducted in an accountable manner and the game balls with industry standards and in a way stamped with. Let's play Playway, follow your dreams, win your way. Good luck. This evening's winning player number is, check your tickets. This evening's winning player number is 34. Let's recap the number 3434. 34 represents dream symbol Mako. Congratulations to all the winners of this evening's player draw. And when you play all the games of the National Lotteries Authority support sports, culture, and the nation building. Thanks for joining us. Have a wonderful evening.
I'm a winner. You are winner. We are winners. Winners.
It's the big one. Grenada. Imagine winning $25,000 and up to 6 times by scratching just one little ticket. Get your triple cash scratch tickets for a chance to live your best life. Win easy with Scratch. For just $3, match any of your numbers to any of the winning numbers and win the prize shown for that number. Reveal a money back symbol and win the prize instantly. Triple cash scratch in stores now. Must be 18 or older to play.
'Cause I'm a winner. From the moment that I get up, I'm feeling right.
Welcome back, folks. It's our Thursday evening edition of Release It, a special program. And again, to our viewers on GBN Television, we thank you. On those on social media, we thank you as well for joining us. In case you missed it, my guest this evening, former Member of Parliament and Government Minister, Mr. Carl Hood. And we're talking a bit about the resignation of the political leader of the National Democratic Congress, Mrs. Franca Alexis Bernardine. Carl, earlier, before the break, you made mention of something very significant, that of paralleling leaders. At this point, the deputy political leader of the NDC I guess until such time that a new leader is appointed or elected, that gentleman will act as a leader of the party. That's the norm generally. How do you think, Mr. Adrian Thomas, a young man new in politics, how do you think he will match up against the like of veteran Keith Mitchell, leader for leader?
You're asking a very hard question here, and I don't know how I could make any comparisons here. Now you're looking at a leader and a prime minister who has been in politics for how many years?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And he has been prime minister for I guess more years than
any other leader. Mm-hmm.
Any other leader. So he knows the ins and outs of all these the political things that and then you're trying to compare that to a person who's very young in the political field, having contested election twice. It's a very difficult comparison in terms of when we look at from a political standpoint. It's a very difficult comparison. I guess the only other comparison we can maybe look at is in terms of who the person is and how would he relate, as it were, to the country. I understood very clearly that politics is not about facts.
Mm-hmm.
I had a rude awakening to understand that politics is not just about facts, but politics is mostly perception. How people see you, how people perceive you, what they think of you, and how do you present yourself to the people. And in this case, how do you present yourself to the nation? Now, it's not just a local thing anymore, although it is said that all politics is local.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you look at a leader for party, especially in the Grenada context, that people tend to vote not just for the person, but vote for the leader of the party,
Mm-hmm.
Based upon their perception of who that person is and what that person is able to do for the country. Now, I think it's a tall order, and it's a difficult road that NDC seems to have to tread at this point in time. Now, let's take, for example, when in the last election or the election before, but the last election mainly, when Nazim Burke was the leader of the party and went into election, and you realize that when you listen to some of the election rhetoric, the things that are being said, and the kind of attacks that takes place, and I tell you, boy, people tend to sling a lot of mud.
Oh yes, definitely.
You know, I was speaking to a gentleman in London, and we were speaking about politics, and I said to him, I says, boy, I don't think, because of who I am, I want to do things, if I ever get back in there, I want to do things in a way that at the end of the day, I could rest comfortably in my bed. And he said to me, let me tell you what my grandfather told me. He said, if you want to dig a ditch, you have two choices. You stay on top, and you get a very long spade to dig it. It's gonna take you a whole long time to dig it. But if you jump down in the ditch, you'll get some mud on you, but you'll clean out faster. So I said, what do you mean by that? He says, if you have to be in politics, you got to get down in the mud.
Well, you have to know how to win. If you don't know how to win, then you definitely will not have a chance.
Again, perception. How do people perceive you? How do they perceive what you're doing? How do you market yourself to the people? Because politics is marketing. You market yourself. How do you do that effectively? And if a person is not able to market himself well, there'll be problems, right? And to me, it's not about running out a whole set of facts or saying, oh, this person is this, that, or the other. There may be, but that does not resonate well. Because at the end of the day, and I remember a young man in Belmont, while I was in government, he met me and he really came up to me, all right? And he said to me, he says, I don't like you up. I said, why are you being like that? He said, man, all you say that the former prime minister was corrupt, but at least he used to give us something. He said, but all they give us nothing. And what hit me is that the perception that the people had is that I don't care if there is corruption here, at least I'm getting something out of that. And so how do you fight against this kind of perception? How do you market yourself to be able to deal with these perceptions? I think this is the big mountain that NDC has to climb. Not only NDC, but all the other players on the field. These are the mountains that they have to climb, because it's not just about saying that a person is corrupt.
Well, it hasn't worked. I mean, many parties have campaigned on that before and they failed. I don't know how much sense it makes continuing along that line. I mean, you can't be doing the same thing over and over and expect to get a different result. It just doesn't work that way. But when you look at the NDC presently, I mean, there are a lot of young people who've just come into the party. A lot of the experienced individuals have sort of bowed out. And that will happen after a while. Even with the NNP now, you're seeing some young people being brought in gradually, and that is the way to go. Because at some point, you have to let go. You have to let go and give other people the opportunity to do what they can to help in the development process. But at this stage, the NNP been in government. I mean, they have years of experience in government. Many of them have won their seats on more than one occasion. Unlike the NDC, who've lost their seats on more than one occasion. So I agree with you. It is a very difficult mountain to climb. How they're going to climb it, I don't know. Are you going to address some of the issues that are affecting Grenada? Yes, you can, but the question is that enough based on what you're telling me? Addressing the issues, pointing out the flaws, even as going as far as offering an alternative or a solution.
Yeah, you see, there must be solutions. It makes no sense to be shouting at the dark. It makes sense to light a candle. And if you continue shouting at the dark, that won't change anything at all. The other side of it, and I think it's even more important, is not just the marketing of self, but your election machinery. How do you conduct the election? How do you get voters out? How do you get workers to really push, to really be there for you? What system do you have to make sure that those of your supporters do vote and win others on their side, on your side? The whole election machinery is also important. And so again, I'm seeing that what is happening with the NDC right now, with the resignation of Ms. Bernadine, as I said, it could be a two-edged sword. It could be difficult in terms of who it is that and at least you knew who was the leader.
Mm-hmm.
And people were beginning to make comparisons, right, where she was concerned against the Prime Minister, Dr. Mitchell. Now, she's not there now. Who are you going to put there that would rise to the stature that a nation could say maybe that's a proper or a viable alternative?
Mm-hmm.
I think that is the weight that has to be carried. That is what has to be looked at very critically. And again, it's not just a matter of who we like in the party. You can't just choose somebody that you like. You have to also look at what perception you're putting out there. What would the nation see based upon the choices that you make? How would they perceive that? And if there's not a good perception, then chances are you're going to fail. So, I don't know. With her leaving, it opens the door for somebody new, somebody fresh to step up to the plate. But again, we always have to remember we have a nation that is looking on.
Right.
We have a national perspective. There has to be a national agenda, right, on that side. Like I say again, I'm not speaking for one side or the other. I'm just looking at it from what I'm seeing from an overall perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm seeing that there's a difficult road ahead. Right?
Now, how do you mentioned that it's an opportunity now for other individuals to step up to the plate and prove themselves, to show what they can do as it relates to taking the party to the next level. But do you also think that her resignation can also open a path for, let's say, another political party to emerge? We're hearing, well, of course, we know Mr. Clement. He is ex-presidential forming a party. We're also hearing about NGOs. Not too long ago, there was a discussion that we aired here on GBN television by a group called TGM. They have not announced that they are a political party, but you never know. There's a possibility it could happen. And there may be other individuals who are looking in that direction. So do you think her resignation, with all that the NDC has gone through, the difficulties that they've gone through, do you think it is a further opening of a path for the emergence of another political party? Also bearing in mind that when the NDC emerged out of the NNP, they formed the government right after that. They got 7 seats in parliament. So it is not impossible. History has shown it is not impossible for another party to emerge in a short space of time. But with the present construct, with all that's happening, COVID and all of that, do you see that happening? Do you see the emergence of a third party that can actually create an impact and really put up a strong contendership against the NNP?
If my memory serves me right, when the NDC emerged, there were not just one party. There were a different group that came together to form the NDC. Because I believe that Francis Alexis had his group.
Well, actually, no, that was before. Remember, the NDC was born out of the original NNP because they went to union, formed the NNP, and then we had the resignation of Tillman Thomas, George Brizan, Francis Alexis, and a couple others, and then they formed the NDC.
Yes.
And they emerged almost immediately Now, it could have been because of the individuals who were involved. I mean, these were powerful guys. George Bizan, very well known. Francis Alexis came back from outside, and he emerged a very powerful politician. And we had people like, Tillman has been around for quite a while, but they emerged, and together with other individuals who came on board, they emerged right away and formed the next government. So it's not impossible.
It's not impossible. I don't think anything is impossible in politics. I don't think it's a real impossibility, but it's. I think there is room for that. I really think there is room for that, and I really think that if people play their cards right, they can. But one of the things that I saw before is that there is a need for a national voice somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
There's a need for an opposition party. Now, and I'm not knocking the government with saying this, but it is important in a democracy to have an alternative voice.
Mm-hmm.
As if you have just one voice speaking, and the problem is, as it is said, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolute.
Mm-hmm.
If you have only one voice speaking and there is not a viable opposition, there is no one to call people to account, then you're leaving the door open for many excesses,
Mm-hmm.
which is not good. Right? So there's always need for a strong opposition. It's needed, right? And there needs to be a strong national voice. So how do you do that? Do you do that through an NGO? Would you have the platform to do that? Again, that's also important to figure that out. And so for me, I think it's possible for a group to emerge, but they got to emerge with persons that the nation could gravitate to, that is known nationally, is known that people could look at them, look at the grouping and say, look, I can have confidence in these persons. But to emerge out of nowhere, right, it'd be difficult. Because again, as I spoke about when Francis Alexis and George Bizan and Joan Purcell and they came out, these were persons who were already in the national scene,
Mm-hmm.
already involved in NGOs, involved in places that were of national importance, and people knew them already there.
Uh-huh.
So coming together and forming a party, people could have said, hey, look, yes, I've known Joan for a long time, right? I've known George Bizan for a long time. And so it's the national, how you present yourself nationally. That's very, very important. And so I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm just looking on at this point in time. As you know that after I came from London, or while I was in London, I got back very much deeply into the church, and even though I love politics, I still believe that there is a place within politics for persons of faith,
Uh-huh.
persons who would want to do an honest job and seek to make honest differences. But I'm just looking on to see what's going on, and if there's a possibility that I could lend a hand somewhere, I would.
Right.
Godfrey, I have a deep love for my country.
Mm-hmm.
I have a deep love for my country. I mean, I've traveled in other places, and I've always longed to come back home. I love this country,
Mm-hmm.
and I always love to see things go well in the country. And this is why when things happen, Even from my perspective, I think that it's not the best thing to do. I'm going to question that in my mind because I look at what's going to happen to us down the road. What's going to happen here? Why are we doing this at this point in time? And again, I want to go back to that hospital scene. I've always been hurt when I think of our hospital. I think of what could have happened, what should have happened. And as a matter of fact, I just last month, I was speaking to the CEO of the very same company that wanted to build that hospital for us. And he said to me, he says, Carl, doesn't Grenada still need a hospital? And I said, yes, they do. He said, but what's happening? I said, boy, I wish I could tell you. I don't know. Right? Because I'm seeing a need right before me.
Definitely.
That need, I'm seeing that as a burning need, right? As the number one need, I would say. But again, persons think differently, and what can you do?
Right. So, Carl, I'll tell you what, we'll take our final commercial break. When we come back from the break, we're going to open our telephone line and, we're going to try and get the perspectives of our listeners and viewers out there. Also, those of you who viewed on Facebook, feel free to drop us a comment. We will share it with, with the rest of our viewers and listeners and let people know what's happening. So stay with us. We'll be back with you in just a moment.
This is it! Quartz is having an epic Black Friday weekend. It's the last call for mega Black Friday savings. This is your chance to experience unbelievable deals all weekend long. It's last call on TVs, washers, and cookers. Price up to 50% off. It's last call on amazing bedding and furniture offers. It's last call for 60% off all toys and inflatables. Last call for 40% off selected rugs and accessories. Plus, fantastic doorbuster deals every day. Every day is Black Friday. You don't want to miss these epic final deals for the month of November. Offer valid for a limited time, Friday 27th to Sunday 29th. Conditions apply. See in store for details. COVID-19 protocols will be strictly enforced. Quartz, bringing value home.
It's new, innovative and classy, and a cut above the rest. Your one-stop shop for bathtubs, kitchenette, customized doors and windows, and even a new paint job. We also sell quartz and solid surface countertops. At M&N Hardware, we offer best prices, excellent service, efficiency, and reliability. Visit us at Dusty Highway, Grandin, St. George, or call telephone number 440-6757. M&N Hardware, from foundation to roof. Let's build together. The Esplanade Mall, something for everyone. Go on a shopping spree today and experience some magic.
Physical activity for a better sleep. Physical activity for a healthier weight. Physical activity for healthier skin. Physical activity for a healthy mind. Physical activity for strong bones and muscles. Physical activity for a healthy body. Physical activity to reduce stress. Physical activity for a healthier and happier you.
Communal, we are adapting to meet the changing needs of our shareholders and members. Times are changing, and with the changing times comes a whole new way to do business. Our parents may have done their banking a different way. Communal's state-of-the-art online banking and international debit card allows members to do business with great ease. It's like literally having a branch in your very own hands. Need a loan? Apply online from the comfort of your own home anywhere in the world, and your request will be dealt with remotely. Want to transfer between your accounts or another shareholder? No wait time for transactions to update. Voila! Who needs receipts when you can receive them via e-statements on your mobile device and save the environment? Not a Communal member? You can join our family today by applying online. At Communal, we see you working hard to ensure that you save, invest, and grow. Communal. Join us today. This will be the best financial decision you have ever made.
From Monday, November 2nd to Thursday, December 31st, GBN's Christmas Caravan will be blazing the trail of goodness across Grenada. Join us as we journey daily to find the hottest deals this Christmas season. Win prizes from our partners. Get recipes for your favorite Christmas treats and bust a tune in the Christmas Karaoke Fun segment. It's GBN's Christmas Caravan. Weekdays from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Live on Classic Radio 105.5 and 105.9. GBN Television Channels 7 and 11. GBN's Facebook page and GBN's YouTube channel. Your mid-mornings will never be the same.
The Christmas Caravan is brought to you in part by Hubbard's and the Food Fair Supermarkets, Kittens Healthcare, Sisson's Paint, and Bryden and Miners and Ace Hardware.
This is it! Quartz is having an epic Black Friday weekend. It's the last call for mega Black Friday savings. This is your chance to experience unbelievable deals all weekend long. It's last call on TVs, washers, and cookers, priced up to 50% off. It's last call on amazing bedding and furniture offers. It's last call for 60% off all toys and inflatables. Last call for 40% off selected rugs and accessories. Plus, fantastic doorbuster deals every day. Every day is Black Friday. You don't want to miss these epic final deals for the month of November. Offer valid for a limited time, Friday 27th to Sunday 29th. Conditions apply. See in store for details. COVID-19 protocols will be strictly enforced. Quartz, bringing value home.
Welcome back, folks. And our telephone line is now open, the number 435-2041, so you can call and share with us your thoughts on this latest development and other issues raised here on the program. So let's go to our telephone line. Good evening, release it. Hello.
Yes, good night.
Yes, good evening. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I believe that the National Democratic Congress need what you call a patriotic leader and who is fearless, because politics is about people and country, and you must be gritty to deal with politics. Now, I want to make a correction, my friend. Now, George Brizan, are you hearing me?
Yes, we are. Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, George Brizan was never a member of the NNP. George Brizan always had his party, the National Democratic Party. And then he joined up with Francis Alexis and Tillman Thomas of the GDM, Grenada Democratic Movement, to form the National Democratic Congress.
Okay, caller, let me just correct you. You are right in some aspects. Now, prior to the formation of the original NNP, George Brizan was the leader of the NDP, and we had a gentleman called Reynold Benjamin, who was the leader of the GDM. Now, in 1984, they went to Union Island, and all these parties together with the GNP formed the new National Party. So George Brizan was a member of the original NNP. It was after that he left together with Alexis and others and formed the National Democratic Congress. Okay?
Okay, well, maybe some caller will be able to clarify it. Thank you very much.
Okay, caller. Thanks a lot, indeed. Yes. All right. Yeah. Carl, you heard the man. He says he believes NDC needs a patriotic leader. I'm not sure what he means by that, but you know, and you must be willing to get dirty.
Well, based upon what I'm seeing and based upon how things are, it depends upon what kind of dirt.
Yeah.
It depends upon what kind of dirt.
Oh.
There dirt that is going to be thrown at you or onto you. But if you become the dirty one, well, that's a whole different story.
It's a different story. Mm-hmm.
You could get dirty, but not be dirty.
All right. Okay. Let's get back to the telephone. Release it. Good evening. Hello.
Good night, Godfrey, and good night to you.
Yes. Go ahead, please, caller.
I would like to touch on the last aspect here, Mr. Who spoke about concerning the general hospital.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
We don't need a new hospital. In my humble opinion, but I do think that we need equipment and specialists in our hospital. We're really building a new hospital and don't have the specialists and the facility and the equipment. It's as an elephant. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, caller. Carl, you want to respond to that?
Yeah, let me respond to that because I was a minister for health when I asked the group to come into Grenada and look at our hospital. And one of the things they said to me is that the location of the hospital and from what they're seeing, that to maintain that hospital is going to be an exorbitant cost. And secondly, they said to me that because of where it is, putting the equipment in there, the sensitive equipment, is not going to last.
Right, the sea spray and so, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And this is why the suggestion was to maybe use that location for maybe a 5-star hotel or whatever it is, and move that to another place where it will not be negatively impacted, right, by the environment. So, caller, I understand what you're saying. Yes, we need specialists, we need equipment, but what's the sense getting equipment when it's not going to last at all? And then again, if it has to be where it is, to maintain that, you'll have to have 24/7 air conditioning. Mm-hmm. Right? You can't have the free-flowing air there because it's going to damage the equipment. Mm-hmm. So these are part of the things that was said that made me come to the conclusion that if we have to go forward, renovating what's there or bringing in new equipment, right, would be not the best idea, but just moving to a different location where you'll not be so negatively impacted, and it will be much better for the country in the long run.
Right, but we've also heard some stories, you know, as it relates to capacity. We've heard about, especially in the maternity ward, where you don't have the capacity to accommodate people. So space is also an issue. Do we have the space there to expand? I am not sure. So it is something that we need to look at.
No, we don't have the space to expand. And further to this, I remember with the PAHO, we did a simulation of a disaster, something happened, and there's need for the fire engine or whatever to come in there. And it turned out that the conclusion that everybody died, right? Because there was no way to go.
Yeah.
The roads are difficult. How do you, in an emergency, evacuate persons from the hospital? Let's say there's a fire in there. What do you do with the patient? How do you get them out? You know, so there are a lot of negatives attached to this that cause us to maybe we should do that.
All right. Let's get back to a telephone. Release it. Good evening.
Good night, sir.
Good evening. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, well, I was listening to the gentleman, Mr. Carla, who and certain things he's saying, and I look at what happened with the leadership of the NDC and from programs, what is going on. politics now really seems as they need a lot of money, but they really don't need money. You know? They need leadership and to get the people to vote. Right now, what I see from listening to some of the programs, the leadership of the NDC, maybe they should look to pull in that man, Mr. Patrick Antwine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, caller, for your contribution. The number 435-2041. You can give us a call and share with us your thoughts on the issues. Let's go back to a telephone. Release it. Good evening.
Good evening. I see the topic resignation.
Yes, go ahead, please. Yeah.
Is there a reason? Do you all have a reason why Miss Franca Bernardine resigned? That's my question.
Okay, caller. Thank you very much. So for those of you who have not heard, Mrs. Bernardine cited health reasons for her resignation. She did say that she's been, having difficulties with her stress levels, and she's been advised that, in order to lengthen her life, she needs to get her stress level down, and so she has decided to make that decision. So the reason for her resignation is as a result of, it's a medical issue, all right, health issue. Let's go back to a telephone. Release it. Good evening.
Hi, good night.
Good evening. Go ahead, please.
Yes. I'm going to give my my opinion on the resignation of Miss Bernardine. I think that this is an opportunity right now for the NDC to regroup and to give young people a chance to come forward. We have been looking at old politicians for many years, and I was of the understanding that there was a lot of internal issues along playing with the NDC at this period of time. So I see this as a great opportunity to have these young people coming forth, you understand, and being able to kind of show their face. We kind of look at this from a negative point of view, but I don't think it is as a negative point of view. I think this is a positive for the party going forward for the next few years. You understand, to be able to challenge, the politicians that we have as of present. So I think that this is it's a good move in a sense. It may for the nation it may look like a negative, but I think it's a positive. One other little factor I want to talk about as well. I was aware of the situation that went on with the hospital a few years back when the minister, Carl Hood, was a minister of health. I remember there was an assessment done on the hospital. They had the fire truck come into the hospital to do a test drill, and it was so ironic that the fire truck actually got stuck in the hospital and it failed the test. I don't know if the minister would remember that happening in that few years back. It was a really, really ironic situation. And also, too, based on the situation, the way the hospital is situated, if we have tsunamis or we have earthquakes or anything of that sort, there would be a situation where our hospital would be off the map. And I did remember that there was, I don't know, Minister, if you remember, there was a three-part situation whereas there was a Canadian company, St. George's University, and the government of Grenada was going to collaborate with each other to make this new hospital. I think it was in Calvinia or Westerhall side, and it was going to be one big, more or less like a university-style hospital, which would have given us the facilities, to be up of world standard. So a lot of things that people do not know about, But I remember when you were minister, a lot of these things was in play. But the political party NMP came in and did not honor that particular direction. But anyway, this is my 2 cents on the situation, and I do think that with the minister, with Franca Bernardine not being there, I think that it just gives an opportunity for young people to kind of come out and show their young blood and push ahead for the future.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed, caller. Thanks a lot for your contribution. Carl?
That's exactly what I was talking about. We did a drill with Baho, and we found that all the difficulties for the there was a simulation of an emergency that took place by the hospital across by the place where all the oxygen tanks are. Let's suppose there's a big fire there. What do we do? How do we get the people out? And it was a disaster. I mean, the drill itself was a disaster. At the end of it, it was said that everybody would have died there because there was nowhere to go. Yes, and also what he was speaking about the Canadian company, the very same is InterHealth Canada is the name of the company. That was willing to build us a hospital. And it was what people now call a BOOT project: build, own, operate, and then transfer. What they were going to do was build a hospital, right? Operate a hospital, bring it up to international standards, right? And based upon whatever agreement that we made, that they would transfer in the hospital to Grenada.
Okay.
And I thought it would have been a wonderful thing for them. I went to Turks and Caicos where they built 2 hospitals there, beautiful hospitals. And it was at that time we were also talking about national health insurance. Right? And they had instituted national health insurance in Turks and Caicos. And I went there, I saw everything, they invited me over there at the opening hospitals and all of that. They showed me the whole process. I spoke to government ministers there, and I came back enthused that yes, we can do this. But again, we fell short.
All right.
And
let's go back to our telephone. Release, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, go ahead, please, caller.
My name is Finsley St. Louis, sir.
Good night, Mr. St. Louis. Good to hear you. We're good.
Well, the truth is, when it comes to health, I have a passion for health. And I once was Minister for Health. And we had a plan for a hospital. The plans were laid out. The whole structure was supposed to be put in place. As a matter of fact, we were going to make a health complex up where the sanatorium is, and we were going to take that whole area. The School of Medicine had agreed to be part of, to at least to make it a teaching hospital. And Mr. Mordecai, who at the time was the chancellor and owner of the school, came, saw me, we agreed on that. Somehow, we did not win the next election. I brought the plans, we had the plans laid out, the complete structure was supposed to, everything was put in place. I brought the plans and the people who were funding, the funds were all ready and everything. I brought it to the Prime Minister and brought the people in, and the Prime Minister agreed at the time it was a good plan, because nowhere in any part of the world could you have a hospital, seriously have a healthcare system where the present hospital is. He promised to the people who came that he was going to go along with the plan. After probably considering it for some time, he thought it was not going to be the best thing to do it, because I understand from one of them in his cabinet at the time, he said if they go along with it, it would look like if it is my plan and my hospital. However, he brought the Canadians down to do it. The Canadians came. They asked me for the plan. I gave them the plan. And when he heard so, he disbanded them. Then came the Cubans who came, and I told him, at that time I said to him, I went back to the minister and to the Prime Minister, and I said, this is not an area to put a hospital, because you don't have the roads, because of technology and the kind of equipment that would be there, being by the sea, it is not going to be a good place to put a hospital. He indicated that people like the scene, they like the view. So anyhow, that is where we have it. And look at what has happened now. He's put on a tremendous building up there. It seems to me that there's no hope of this government moving the hospital from where it is. And our healthcare, like everybody knows, is in a mess. I went up there a few weeks ago, and I had to take some pictures. I wish I could have shown you the pictures, and we should look at it. The accident and emergency waiting room, the area is in a mess. I don't know how these doctors could continue to work under those conditions. So hospital care in Grenada and healthcare in Grenada is a nil, is a zil, quite frankly. And it hurts me to see what we have for a hospital and healthcare in this country. It was much better 40 years ago than what it is today. With technology as it is today, and having what we have, it is not something that people should be proud about. I think the government should be ashamed of themselves to see what is there about what we have as a hospital and where the hospital is located and the money that's being spent to put down this new building that they cannot even fully equip. So quite frankly, I think the government should be ashamed of themselves. However, let us hope. Let us hope. What has happened this afternoon what I heard this afternoon has hurt me, because here it is, we do not seem to have a proper opposition party. It strikes me that I might have to have to go back and find some young people to join with me, or help some young people to get back in the park, get into serious politics, because I don't know what has happened to the NDC. Believe me, I don't know what's going on. However, thanks a lot for giving me the opportunity to say what I have just said, and I am one of those persons who feel a passion for health. And quite frankly, my wife died, she had to die outside. My son died, he died outside. We couldn't treat them here. Just think about that. I have a passion.
Thank you very much, Mr. St. Louis, and we look forward to hearing from you again on our programs.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Carl, right up your alley.
Yeah, what he's speaking about, I remember in the 1990 election. That's the very first time I went into politics. And this was part of the platform that we ran on, dealing with a new hospital at Mongay. And he's right. There were a lot of things in place for that. But again, politics trumps health, if I should put it that way. Because it seems that sometimes, and this is one thing I don't like about politics, is the cohesion is not there. Because sometimes even your own comrades, if they think that what you're doing is going to put you in such a good light, they don't want that. They themselves are going to try to cut you down, so that whatever you're putting forward, it doesn't happen. As he pointed out, they said maybe it would have been his hospital. I understand what he's talking about. I feel the very same thing. And who loses? The country loses.
Yes, indeed. Let's get back to our telephone. Release it. Good evening. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good evening. Go ahead, please, caller.
Okay, I just want to put in a little of what I'm hearing. For instance, the money that the government is trying to fix the airport with, don't they know that there is a lot of things in Grenada that need fixing? Roads, as they say, hospitals, buildings. Grenada is in a mess. And also about the hospital. If there is a bad storm, the hospital is going straight into the ocean. So I think there's a lot of things that could be done besides doing things to the airport, which they have very little traffic on that airport. So I think they should look into it and take that money and do something else except what they want to do with it with the airport. It's not a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you very much, caller. Thanks a lot indeed. 435-2041, that's the number you can call, and you can share with us your thoughts on some of the issues. We go back to a telephone. Release it. Good evening.
Hello, good night.
Yes, good night. Go ahead, please, caller.
I just want to compliment the vision of the Prime Minister.
Can you just speak a little louder? We're not hearing you very well.
I just want to compliment the Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Mitchell, for having that two ministers in ministers of health, one for hospital services and community service, while you have Sister Delma Thomas as that minister, and Honorable Nicola Steele, as the other minister responsible for the COVID and other things, within the health sector. So I want to congratulate them so far in really where we are as relates to this situation in Grenada with the COVID. And I ask, them to continue on that good path, because in these times is not normal times. And everyone in Grenada who've been making that tremendous sacrifice to help, to protect our nation, and not forgetting the frontline workers, the police and everyone. And I just want to say in closing, I compliment this administration also for building that first-class health center at Gov. I know in the period of 2008 to 12 that medical station was mashed down and wasn't built back. And I want to say that this administration, if you take a walk or drive to Gov, you'll see the state-of-the-art building. And it goes on. And healthcare is not going to the hospital. Healthcare is about what you eat, what you go, and, having good polyclinics around the country so that we can provide better health services. I could compliment this administration. Many people have their agenda, but the truth will set us free. Thank you.
Thank you very much, caller. Thank you very much indeed for your contribution. Let's go back to our telephone. Release it. Good evening.
Good evening, Citizen Augustine. Greetings and greetings to your guests. Whoa, what sight some of our, I'm so happy that I'm a blind jackass in this here country. Here we have a person with all her rights as a citizen of this country to make our comments, talking and praising a government, or let's call it an administration, for having three ministers in 7 years to run a health care system that continues to fail and continues to drag itself on the ground. Oh, what sight some of us have. That's why I tell you I'm so happy to be blind. Now let's get to the meat of the matter. The resignation of Miss Bonadi. This is a delicate matter, because here we have a sister who complains of health conditions, creating the grounds for her to retire from frontline politics. So we can't rejoice on this matter. This is a very serious matter. We're talking about health situation. And we know very well, under stressful conditions, people break down physically and they break down mentally. And this is not the desire of any one of us for any politician. So what is necessary in this here country today? We need young, powerful blood, intelligent young men, women, even people who have served in politics in this here country and who hopefully have learned the lessons, the mistakes they made, and taken bearings on what is exactly being put forward in recent times relative to the foundation of this country, where the major problem lies, and nobody wants to speak about it. This here country is as it is because this country is operating without a legitimate constitution. Why is it nobody wants to talk about it? Why is it you think we cannot hold these people to task? We cannot, because the Constitution, so-called constitutions, make no provisions for it. They get in there, the Constitution establishes immunity. They take total advantage with total impunity. They break the Constitution. Breach the Constitution. They breach the current laws. And nobody can take them to task for it. This is where the problem lies. So I urge the young men and women of this country to start concentrating on that aspect of it so that they can chip in. I mean, vociferously to condemn this organized crime syndicate that has sequestered the state of Grenada. Mobilize yourselves to take to the street to protest the corruption, the inverted morality, the perversion, the wrongdoing in this here country, and protect your country. Protect your country and save them. Your state, Grenada, is being sold out technically. The environment is being destroyed with all the ecological systems that support them. And we're sitting here and we're watching these people cutting the branches that we're all sitting on, and we're doing nothing about it. So I invite all the young men and women of this here country who have ideas, read and understand. Take a look at what is happening around the world. Struggle for a new constitution that you can pull it out from your pocket and say, you are breaching the constitution and should be held responsible. The time has come for that. Unless we do that, unless we refound this nation, when I say refound it, I mean reconstitute it. And mind you, those who hold on to the quote-unquote tete will never let it loose. It has to be the people in synergy to do it. Think, young men and women, think, please. The elderly heads who can support these young men and women with their new thoughts and ideas based on what is happening around the world. This is the way we have to go.
Thank you.
Let's stop here.
Yeah. Thank you very much indeed, caller. Carl, you have not commented in a bit.
After what was said there, I don't know if I can comment on that.
All right, so let's get back to the telephone. Let's go back to the telephone.
Let me just say one thing. One thing I speak about here is what I was speaking about as it relates to perception. As it relates to perception, what are people seeing?
Mm-hmm.
All right, how are people perceiving what's taking place? Now, again, the question that we asked before is that, does that make room, or is there opening for a third party? Again, is based upon his perception. Based upon what he's saying there, from his perception, there's a lot of things that he's seeing. And again, we cannot dismiss somebody's perception, because perception, for the most part, to a lot of people, is reality.
Uh-huh.
Right? And you have to be able to help a person to see what you're doing, to be able to understand what's taking place, and if they do have a wrong perception, to change that. But if the perception is right, then that's a whole different story. Perception is very, very, very important. And that's as much as I could say.
All right, let's go back to our telephone. Release it. Good evening.
Hello?
Yes, good evening, caller. Go ahead, please.
Yes. Yeah, Godfrey.
Yes, caller. Listen to me. You need to turn the volume of your radio down and listen to us on your telephone.
Hello, better now?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Go ahead.
Yes. Today I was listening to you and you say it's time for Grenadians to speak out. And every time we speak out, there is people that come up and they condemn. They just condemn. And it's the NMP people. Just like the woman tonight there. You listen to her, we're talking about hospital, she says it's good where it is, and everything. Right? And these are the people that don't speak out. But these are the people that when people speak out, they condemn you.
But caller, I mean, the truth is, I mean, everyone has a right to his or her opinion, so I don't have a problem there.
I understand that.
That doesn't prevent you from speaking out.
No, I understand that. But this is the reason why we country is where it is. Because we can't speak out. And you say speak out. And we can't speak out. Because this is the people that come back and they're ready to ridicule you on what you say.
So here what? Let me give you some advice. Listen to what I say, not what they say, and continue to speak out. How about that?
Yes, that's good. Because today when I hear you, I say, good, we need to speak out. We need to speak out, but there are haters. They just don't want us to speak out. And they're going to just condemn every time when we speak out.
All right, no problem. Thank you, man. All the best. Yes, indeed.
Let me answer this caller. Speaking out needs courage, because there would be persons who are going to be against your opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be bold enough and courageous enough to stand upon what you believe and to speak your mind without fear. Now, it is going to take some sacrifice. It may cost you something, but if you are convinced that what you're saying is the truth or is right, then you should not stop yourself from speaking out.
That's
no
right.
matter who says what. Yeah.
All right, let's go back to our telephone. Release it. Good evening. Hello. Hello.
Hello, Godfrey.
How are you doing? Go ahead.
Fair enough, thank you. Godfrey, there are many strange things, and people see things in their own way. I have a keen suspicion that something is going on. I have noticed after over 20 years, there has never been a fire truck in Victoria. But as I came from the sea about 1 o'clock, I saw an old, small fire truck reversing into the station yard. So I asked a guy that was dressed in blue, and I believe he was associated with the truck. I say, "What happened? You all bring this fire truck here?" "Yes, we're giving our leave a fire truck." And then I hear the minister, who is the parliamentary representative, after over 20 years of a dilapidated health unit in Victoria, where nothing will be done, she said they're going to build a new one. And I have to think, for instance, Queen Street, that's the main street in Victoria, I noticed they're doing a lot of patches on the road. So that makes me believe something is happening. And Godfrey, please don't forget, visit the Union.
The pavilion?
Yes, I want you to see.
Well, it was on television.
It was on television?
Yes, I saw the member of parliament talking about it.
Right. Well, she says she's talking as though they want to put a playing field there. Godfrey, over 3.5 years ago, they built the pavilion in preparation for the 2018 election. And up to now, they can't find the playing field because too many big boulders. And I can tell you, Godfrey, we are in a tight situation in this country. My private choice to lead the NDC, we have to be very careful from taking a total outsider and just one go, making that person leader. It may not be a wise thing. But there is a young woman, I believe she has the guts and she has the determination. Claudette Joseph. I see a lot of potential in her as a leader. And I hope that the NDC thinks well in choosing the next leader. Thank you, Godfrey.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Carl, I'm not sure if it's such a bad idea to get an outsider, because it happened with the NDC before and they formed the government. That was with Mr. Nicholas Brathwaite.
But again, it comes back to perception. There are some persons who will not accept it, but then you have to ask yourself, again, as I said before, when you're dealing with leaders, how does that one match up to someone else?
Mm-hmm. Because that will be the comparison.
That will be the comparison, and he speaks about Joseph as a person that he believes could be the best person there. Again, that's his perception.
Mm-hmm.
I guess what the party would have to do is to look very deep as to what they want to do going forward, who they see as best able to carry them forward. And again, having to bear in mind that there will be a comparison that will be made between the NNP leader and whoever they choose.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a person that you like, because if you want to win an election, then you would have to face up to that fact.
Definitely.
So I don't know if an outsider might be the best, or somebody inside, I guess.
Well, it depends. As you said, it depends. Because there are people who are... I mean, Grenadians love charismatic leaders. We've seen that over the years. And if someone emerges that can win the confidence of the people, clearly it's going to work. It will work. It will work. Let's get back to our telephone. Release it. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes, go ahead, please, caller.
Yeah, I need to ask a question.
Sure.
You said somebody outside, an outsider. What really you all mean when you say outsider? Outside of what? Of the party or the country?
My thought as it relates to this is probably someone maybe who has not been deeply involved in politics, something like that.
Oh, yeah, and it also get that clear because I heard some names called which I know that they are in politics, However, what I do believe that Grenadians need now, they need new bloods. That is one. And they need a young, vibrant person to lead this party. Because the old guards, I don't think they're bringing anything to the country. And that is what we need. However, I would not call names because I don't want people to think that, I'm supportive of a particular person. But in the parties, NDC and NNP, which is the two parties I consider that is in Grenada now. And look within these two parties, and I would like them to choose the youth, one of the youth persons, to lead this party, to take them in the next election. Not the old guard, because it's a cycle. We're going over and over every and it's the same thing, same result we get in. So I hope the parties and they will think along those lines. And when they meet in the convention or to get leaders, I hope they look at one of the youths and do what they have to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, caller. Thanks a lot indeed. I've heard that expressed before, Carl. It worked for the NDC in 2003, thereabout, on to 2008. It did work. Will it work again? I guess this is something we'd have to wait and see.
Yeah, we have to wait and see. And then remember, NDC is coming from a long way back.
Yes.
Right, having lost two elections at 15-0. They're coming from a long way back. And then again, but again, it's just said, when you hit rock bottom, that's a good thing. But the only way you can go is up.
Yes, indeed. Let's get back to our telephone. Release it. Good evening.
Citizen Augustine, I beg you 1 minute. Your indulgence is just to throw out a little analogy so that our people can sit down, enjoy it, and suck it.
Sure, go ahead.
Listen, when I was a boy, we used to play. We started first playing with wind ball and sponge ball. And you know what we used to use back there? Coconut bat. You used coconut bat, did you, Godfrey?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, sometimes we would pick up a little piece of white pine or pitch pine. But then the balls started to get harder. We used to use compo. You remember what a compo is, Godfrey?
The amount of compo I make already.
Huh?
Oh, yes. You melt the plastic.
Ball. But you see, leather ball was much more expensive. But of course, they equally hard. But combo was dangerous. And of course, you used to have to cut pieces of fig skin and so on to use pads so you don't get bounce on your shin. The point I'm trying to make here is that when you're playing ball, it evolves. Balls get harder. And you therefore cannot continue to use coconut bat and white pine and pitch pine when you're batting with compo. So what we need to do as politicians in this country, whereas the NNP is playing hardball We had to get willow for them. That's what we had to get, willow, and deal with them accordingly. This country cannot continue in this soft spot while we deal with an organized crime syndicate. And I'll tell you this, I'll end it by saying this. We have to start, or if we haven't started yet, documenting all the ills and the evils and the irregularities that this government, this administration led by Keith Mitchell is doing to this here country. So that when the time comes, we can try them just as the Golden Dawn was tried in Greece as a criminal organization. And so we could send them where they belong through the pursuit of history once and for all. Have a good evening, will you?
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. 435-2041. That's the number you can call. We go back to a telephone. Release it. Good evening.
Yeah, hello. Let's call to the program.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, hello. Good evening, sir. Yeah, listen, I just get home and I'm looking at your program now. And I've been telling the NDC government that this is going to happen for about a lot of years to come. And the NDC government has an opportunity to look to another.
Okay, caller, you need to listen to us on your telephone. If you listen to your radio,
okay, to look, they have the opportunity. We understand. Besides,
caller.
Yes.
Listen to me. You need to turn the volume of your radio down and speak to us on your telephone. If you keep listening to the radio, you are going to hear yourself delayed.
Okay.
So turn the volume down. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mute it.
All right.
Okay, what I'm saying is that the NDC government has the opportunity because the NNP government has an old leader. And the NDC government has the opportunity of getting a new leader even when they lost the election. Because the NDC government has a problem, and they have to get rid of that problem before they even thinking about running the next election.
What's the problem they have?
The problem is that they have all members in the NDC that don't even listen to the youths. You understand? And you have to listen to the youth and the cry of the country and forget all the old members that have been there for years and plaguing the NDC government.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you for your contribution. Thanks a lot. Mm-hmm. Again, Carl, perception. It bears now on what the leadership of the Congress will do. Let's go back to a telephone again. Release it. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. How are you going?
Very good. Go ahead, please.
I want to share a different perspective and a different opinion on what has been shown before.
Sure.
The National Democratic Congress' greatest mistake is saying that leadership creates a difference alone. Let me draw this reference. The NNP planned the leadership trick that we must believe, that is Keith versus Nazim Burke. So they pitch out to the audience that Nazim Burke cannot reign with Keith. Keith is greater than Nazim Burke. And when Nazim Burke had fallen from grace, it had some NNP people saying, we dig a pit for Nazim Burke, or you push him in it. In other words, all you believe what we say, and all you yourself had the plan to get rid of him, because we make all you believe that Nazim Burke is so bad. While perception is good and perception is bad, I think one of the things that the NDC need to get to understand electoral matters, good leadership strategy, and they have to attack corruption at its core. The NNP strategy is to make NDC believe that corruption is not it. Till radio announcers and everybody saying we can't talk about corruption anymore. And they continue with the corruption. They attack NDC leaders and they willfully do it, and we're saying, no, you can't go on this leadership business anymore. There are some fundamental to politics, which the strategy of the NNP is making NDC believe that they shouldn't attack those areas. And everybody is buying into it while they themselves are doing the very same thing. So I want to ask this question before I close to Mr. Carl Hood. Because when Carl Hood get into politics, I believed in the man. He came from an evangelical background, although I am not one of those. Knowing that you preach about the corruptible practices of Keith before you get into office, when you get into office and you notice that probably the NDC was not all that perfect, but corruption was not the name of the game, don't you think that there will be a heavy perception against you in getting back into politics now, knowing that you went back into the very bowels of the NNP, who you used to preach against as one of the most corrupt organizations in the Caribbean? I would like to hear your take on that, Mr. Carlwood.
Thank you very much, caller. Carl, a question to you.
It's a very interesting question, and it's one that I've answered in different areas before. My take on things is that, as I said, I'm a patriot. I love my country. Or whatever I could do to enhance my country, I would do that. When I resigned from the NDC government, my intention was not to join any other party. I've seen some things that went on that I did not approve of, and I felt that I should walk away from that. When I was asked to, if I would be willing to work along for the country's sake as an ambassador, I accepted that because I wanted to help my country and to do whatever I can for the development of my country. Now, my understanding, and I really want this caller to understand this, my understanding of leadership, my understanding of what obtains when the government is in place is that, and I would go to the Bible, because the Bible says that governments are ordained by God, and the powers that be are ordained of God. He's the one who puts up one and pulls down another. And he also said that we ought to pray for government, submit ourselves to government, so that whoever is in government at a point in time, I believe as a Christian, I'm supposed to submit myself to this authority. Now, when you're dealing with it from a political standpoint, on a political campaign, then I'm going to point out the ills of the other side, because I want to get rid of them. So I'm going to point out what I see as the ills. And I'm not going to make things up or try to put up a lie. I'm going to speak the truth as I see it. And as I said during the campaign, yes, I saw a lot of corruption. And I spoke against what I saw. All right? And during my campaign, I dealt with a lot of the issues that I saw in the country that, to me, were very corrupt. Now, the question is now, is there corruption still? What should be my answer? Now, the fact is, folks, that one of the things that we must look at, as I made an allusion to it before. If you see a person go into politics and he doesn't have much, and then after 5 years you see he have a lot, you know some corruption took place there. Mm-hmm. Because based upon the salary that is being paid to a politician, they can never amass such wealth, except they do things on the hand, under the table, around the corner, some sort of thing. All right. Having been there and I'm seeing that. So one can look at the persons in office, see what kind of life they're living, see what things they end up buying or having and all kinds of things. And you have to ask yourself, how did they come by that? Is that part of the salary, or is it something else? So yes, you look around and you will see that there's some areas that one can say that there still is corruption around. But when I spoke earlier on, it says that the strategy for winning anything is not as a matter of pointing out corruption, as it were, but what is the perception that people have of you? Because you can go there and point out all the truth, all the facts, that there's corruption here, there, and everywhere, and you can point them out, right? But if people doesn't see you as a person who can do something to make changes, especially as a leader of the party, then no matter how much corruption you speak about, nothing is going to change.
That's right.
Right? Because what they need to see is not just a matter of saying that there is corruption. What they need to see is that I have a plan to make this country better. And by making this country better, I have a plan that's going to make your life better. Because, again, we have to see that Grenada politics is a whole lot of bread and butter issues.
Mm-hmm.
People need to understand what is in store for them. and that's part of what's happening. So as the caller asked a question as to, I spoke against corruption and then I go and join into something. I did what I did for the good of the country. Mm-hmm. I did what I did because I felt that I could serve my country, and I'm willing to serve my country irrespective of who is in office. Mm-hmm. If I have an opportunity to serve my country, I will. And I wouldn't say, well, look, this guy in office and I don't like him, so I will not serve my country. It's not about the person. It's about the country. And if you have love for country, you'll be willing to serve your country whenever you're called upon. Think about a soldier going into battle. He may not like the president at the time or whoever he is. But because of love for country, he's going to give his life for the country. Not a matter of who's in office. It's a matter of what can I do for this country that I love. Yes, I do have a great love for this country.
Yeah. Carl, I want to thank you so very much. Unfortunately, we are out of time. But I'm really happy that you accepted my extremely short invitation. It was just a matter of a few minutes when I called you and asked you to come on with me this evening to discuss these issues. And I'm really pleased, I'm honored, I'm happy that you found it in yourself to accept the invitation to come here and, chat with us and share with us your perspectives on some of the issues that's happening in our country. So I thank you once again, and let me say this, that I'll call you soon again. I'll be calling you soon again. I also want to thank all of you who called for your contribution. Thank you so very much. We do appreciate it. And I want to close by, wishing the NDC all the best. I also want to wish Mrs. Bernadine all the best, and I hope that she can use this time to make herself comfortable and get her health back the way she would like it to be. So, Mrs. Burden, I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. NDC, I hope you can find it within your party and where else to do what you need to do to be a viable opposition and an alternative for our beautiful country of Grenada. So once again, folks, thank you very much. Carl, thank you again. Good night, and we'll talk soon again. All the best. Yeah.
Thanks again.
Thank you, folks, and I'll be back with you tomorrow. Don't forget, tomorrow at 8 o'clock, We Culture. Tomorrow, we are talking about some of the nursery rhymes and some of the stories we were taught in school as young children that, placed our minds in one direction. So we will be looking forward to hearing from you tomorrow evening as we discuss these issues. So good night and all the best.